Welcome to HagueTalks, the podcast, where we hear directly from some of the HagueTalks community about how they're setting peace and justice in motion.
My name is Yanhui Peng from the south part of China. I just moved to the Netherlands this year in January. So I work in the organization Chinese Initiative on International Law. So I'm the program director. I coordinate the program on LGBT rights, about China and in the Europe.
Yanhui is the director of LGBT Rights Advocacy China. He's not just advocating for LGBT rights, but has been the plaintiff in some groundbreaking court cases in China. Now he's continuing to support gay and lesbian rights here in the Netherlands. I'm Janet Anderson, and I caught up with Yanhui during Hague Justice Week in June 2023, where he helped organising discussions on LGBT rights across Asia. The path of finding out more about his personal experience being a gay man in China started with this question. What's your favourite colour?
I'm not sure. My favorite color, maybe blue? Yeah.
Why?
You know, there is a dating app, gay dating app in China called Blue. Also, when the sun comes, the sky becomes blue. We need that.
What's the problem with the rights of LGBTQI communities in China? Is there a problem?
Yeah, our community experienced a lot of challenges, especially during the past few years. So from 2010, I joined the LGBT movement in China. I set up an organization called LGBT Rights Advocacy China. So we focus on the legal campaign. We launched the very first LGBT litigation, like a campaign on the issues of conversion therapy. I was the plaintiff at the time.
The issue of conversion therapy, so that's still being practiced in China, that people are being forced via medical practices to try to turn them into straight people.
Yeah, so basically most of our community members, they were sent to the hospital or private clinic by their family. But there are a lot of government background hospital, they providing conversion practice in China, in different cities. For example, in 2020, we do a small survey around 120 hospital and clinic practicing conversion therapy all over different cities. I went to one of them in 2014 and experienced once electric shock conversion therapy. And I found out, not only me, but different community members, especially trans youth, they experience conversion therapy.
So you went to this hospital where you yourself experienced conversion therapy. What's that like?
Yeah, after the Chinese New Year, everyone need to come out to their parents when they go back to their hometown. I was one of them. I haven't come out to my family member as well. But also because during that time, a lesbian couple in the northeast of China, they were sent by their parents to a hospital, like an enforced treatment. And their story were discussed on Chinese social media. And the other party of the lesbian couple was enforced to they have to stay at home, and the other one to the hospital. And a lot of community members came out on social media that they also experienced conversion therapy.
So you talked to your parents partly because of that story and partly because you wanted to tell them after Chinese New Year?
I didn't tell them, and I just want to experience what happened, why the hospital practicing conversion therapy, how was it look like, and the most important reason is I want to stop them. Then I go there myself. My parents didn't know I was gay, but I went there myself to experience what were it like.
That's very brave. What was it like?
Yeah, so it's very I don't know how to describe. So the day I went to the private clinic, they are in the office building like a normal office. I knocked their door, and I come to their reception, and I found out like on the background of their reception there are many treatment with different prices. They have a manual openly stating that conversion therapy, if you buy once, like a 1 hour treatment, costs 500 Chinese dollar. I think is 80 US dollars. And they have a program in like 30 treatment, costs 30,000 RMB.
What would they be offering as part of that conversion therapy? What does it look like? What does it feel like?
I said I would like to experience once conversion therapy, and then the counselor take me to a small room, and he said to me that being a gay is not okay. You will get disease, and a lot of gay people like infect to HIV, something like that. And then he started to say, if you want to experience, like be treated as normal people, I can help you. And then he asked me to lie down on a sofa, like started to hypnosis to me. And like asked me to lie down, close my eyes, breathe in, breathe out. After like 10 minutes, he asked me to think about a situation having sex with men. And he asked me that if I have any reaction mentally or physically, move my finger, because I was lying down relaxing, and I haven't moved my finger, but he used electric shock equipment to electric shock to me on my arms.
Goodness. So that's the basis of the therapy, is electric shock. And if you kind of widen it out and think about the gay, lesbian community in China, does this kind of attitude mean that most people remain hidden? Most people don't tell families and so on because they know that's possibly how they will be treated?
I think like most of the parents, they believe that being gay is illness, something wrong with you. And then the first reaction when the kids come out to their parents, the parents will immediately like, we should see a doctor. And at this time, a lot of Chinese psychiatric counselors, they haven't received any correct information or education like about gender diversity. And most of them, they were said to the parents that, the kids should be converted. So, according to Chinese law, we don't have any law or policy ban conversion therapy. So the whole system supporting, like guiding the community experience conversion therapy.
Do you think that the rights of gay communities across Asia, particularly in China, how do you think that relates to the arguments we have around improving justice, improving potentially the rule of law in places? How do you make that connection?
The Chinese government, almost 10 years ago, they say that the country will support the rule of law, and also equality, diversity is part of our core value from the government. So we think it's at the time that we should use the law to protect ourselves. So from 2014, I set up my organization focused on the legal campaign. So we use the litigation as a strategy to advocate for our rights. So during the past 10 years, we support 13 litigation on like conversion therapy, employment discrimination, and like media censorship and marriage equality as well.
So you take cases to court, and so via litigation, you try to challenge the laws,
yes,
as they are.
Yeah.
How successful have you been?
Yeah, it surprised us that from 2014 to 18, we won many cases. We won 5 of our cases like especially on employment discrimination. But when we sue the government body, like Ministry of Education or the Media Censorship Department, we will lose the case. But at least our case can accept it and discuss in the court. And it raised a lot of public discussion among the media during that times. But things changed after 2018. The media shut down a lot of LGBT coverage and our social media account. So things become more and more difficult now.
So you've come out to your own family, and how has that gone?
It's a funny story. I take my case to the court in 2014 and we successfully winning the case. And the judge from the court stating homosexuality is not a disease. It's the first time Chinese official document stating that. So after we got this successful legal case, we talked to the media in China, including the Chinese national media. And I was on the media as a gay man who take the legal case. That was the first time my parents saw me on TV, finding me I was gay. So that's how I came out to them, to my family.
And what was their reaction?
They just act like most of the Chinese parents. They didn't say anything. They pretended that they don't know about that. My siblings call me, oh, why are you doing that? Our parents found out and all our relatives call our family. What happened to you? Something like, to your kids. But my parents had never have any conversation with me about this. They just pretend nothing happened. But from that time on, they stopped asking me to get married. Because before that, they keep asking me, oh, when will you find a girlfriend, take them to the family, something like that. But they stopped asking that. Most of our community members, just like me, like deal with the relationship. We just not started the conversation. And then just pretend nothing happened.
And have you seen attitudes change in the last decade? As you've won various cases and you've pushed things, but then there's been a roll back by the state. But have society's attitudes changed?
Yeah, I think if we look back 20 years ago, 10 years ago, it's hugely changed among the society, especially for younger generation. When our generation, when I was young, I have the opportunity to get to the internet and then see a lot of information abroad. We know the Dutch government legalized same-sex marriage. The information will spread through the internet. And for our generation or even younger generation, the acceptance are quite well. And also, if you live in big city, for individual, you can enjoy your daily life. You come out to the peer. Same-sex couple living together, they go to the gay bar and totally it's okay. But if you live in a small town, it's quite challenged because people all around you, they know your family. So it's a very difficult, you need to live a double life. And in 2015, UNDP Beijing, they conduct a survey in China. Only 5% of our community members fully came out on workplace. So 95% of us need to live a double life, including only 10% come out to their family. Even the society is changing, we need legal protection. At least we need to have the anti-discrimination law to protect sexual orientation, gender identity, and gender expressions. And the legal system will help to transfer people's mind. If my parents know, being gay, you can get married in China, then they don't think it's abnormal. right? So I think that the society, our heart and mind are changing. At the same time, the legal system should catch up with the people's mind.
Now that Yanhui's activism continues here in The Hague, I asked him how living here, a place where there's the right to same-sex marriage, for example, how that's helped him shape his current work.
In China, we heard a lot of equality, especially on LGBT justice in the Netherlands. The Netherlands is the first country legalized same-sex marriage. So in my mind, I always have a dream or imagination. If I live here, enjoy the freedom, liberty, and justice. So when I have the opportunity to come here, I was so excited. And immediately, as soon as I arrived here, I joined the organization, started to see what I can do here to support the Chinese queer community in the Netherlands and in Europe. So many gay community and LGBT community members, they come to study here and they live here. So enjoy the freedom. But we think it's great that we should organize together using the justice system here to see what we can do and what we can support to our community back in China.
What do you think that might be? How can you use the justice system here?
So there are a lot of stakeholders, including the Dutch government, including very wide international organizations here. People here are very supportive to us. So now we are organizing a youth training program in summer that support the Chinese young activists in Europe. We invite them come together to learn experience in The Hague, how organization here organize campaign, so learn the experience here, and we plan to organize some activity to support our community in China. There are many students, including me, after they experience the life here, all the ideology, all the experience cannot be erased. Individual cannot be erased. Even our media, our policy in China, they have a lot of censorship for LGBT issues, but individual, your daily life will not be erased. So when we back to China, when our community member experience the freedom here and then they go back to China, they will live their queer life and they will support their peers. And also now, many of our individual community members in China, they need hope. And it seems lack of hope, what the future will be. And the activities we organize here, give people some imagination. Many years later, maybe in China, we will the same like here. And then people can enjoy their true self. Especially now, we are working on a legal case on a lesbian couple who got married abroad and have baby abroad, and they live in China. And they face a lot of legal challenge to protect their children. More and more children was born from the same-sex family inside China. So these children will face a lot of legal challenge. So the Chinese law should protect them for the best interest of children. So I'm learning the legal system here, how to protect the same-sex family and children. And then we will talk to the Chinese lawmakers in China and show some examples what the legal system should be. And we can learn from that.
Thank you, Yanhui Peng, for sharing such deep insight into your journey as a gay man in China, on your work pushing for LGBT rights, and how the Hague justice system has been a tool in this fight. Check out all the podcasts for Hague Talks. This first collection is around Hague Justice Week, with some of the great people setting peace and justice in motion. And don't forget to like and share Hague Talks, the podcast.